What's up, everybody? My name is CoalFire, and welcome back to the Call of Cthulhu. Now, the last episode was a little rough. It was really rough, and it managed to thoroughly infuriate me. But that's just the case sometimes, and we're gonna soldier on through this and keep going for the sake of the story. I might end up editing the episodes a little bit more heavily now to skip some parts like that. If there is a section that we get into that is stealth with very little direction as to what we're supposed to be doing, I might just shut up, figure it out, and edit in me figuring it out, and move on from there. But let's dive back in. Load, please. Yes, I don't want to boo. The Shambler turned out to be much more than an artwork painted by Sarah Hawkins, as a huge creature came out of the painting to attack Pierce. After a hard fight, oh man, you have no idea, the detective managed to send it back into the painting. He later discovered that the dagger he used to repel the creature had been sold to Sanders by a man named Algernon Drake, owner of the Nameless Bookstore. Pierce decides to pay the library a visit. I will say, I do wish there was, oh god, a bit more, like, walking around, honestly. Like, I could see the town in between these scenes. Because, I was thinking that the town that we saw at the very beginning was going to be, like, our hub. But that has not been the case so far. Okay.
Where's the bookseller?
So, like, are we in town right now? Are we in a place that we can recognize? That looks like the warehouse. Maybe we're on the, like, side.
Another volume of the Reverend's wife's diary.
The pastor declared himself to be the prophet. He renounced God and worshipped a strange pagan entity with a monstrous appearance. His wife tried to reason with her husband, but in vain. He was convinced that he must listen to the voice in his head because it holds the truth. Ah, yes. That honestly doesn't sound too dissimilar from a lot of other stories of prophets and such.
Freud's The Interpretation of Dreams. It's the work that laid the foundations of psychoanalysis at the beginning of this century.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty true. This practical work's written by Sigmund Freud for psychology of psychology. I've seen a couple typos now. Describes the techniques of analytical interpretation of dreams. The analysis must follow several rules, especially that of free association, a principle announced by Freud at the end of the 19th century. It treats dreams as a way of revealing buried desires, like, you want to have sex with your mom, Freud. I cannot believe that this theory is applicable to my nightmares. Yeah, so the further that psychology advances, the more we realize that Freud was kind of a crackpot, but he did start the whole, like, psychological revolution, so we can credit him with that. Okay. Is this like concept artwork that you got put into the game? If so, that's some pretty cool stuff. Boom. History of Darkwater. In the 19th century, as the American whaling industry reached its peak in the rest of the world, whales gradually disappeared from the waters surrounding Darkwater. This phenomenon appears to be even more mysterious because up until then, the region was favored as a refuge for crustaceans, whales' favorite noms. In 1847, after months of pursuit, Celia returns to port with a gigantic creature on board. The crew asserts that the sea monster had eaten all of the disappeared whales. After a night of ferocious combat, the survivors managed to drag the beast onto the whaling ship. So this was the thought that came to me in, like, editing some of the previous episodes, that the great catch of, what was that, 1847, might have been an old god. Okay, refilling our lamp oil. We keep doing that, but we haven't had a lot of stuff that's really been draining our lamp oil. But I have a feeling that, like, that's what the great catch was, and it's what ended up, like, starting to fuck over the town. Oh, this was the loading screen. Is there some of significance back here? Oh. Handbook on Anatomy and Dissection, Book 2, precise and illustrated with much detail is the first volume. This book focuses on healing surgeries specific to malformations and motor disorders. Okay. Very cool. Breviary of Medicine, Tome 3. Even a few years back, it was possible for single practitioners to know all of the knowledge of his time. This book, which concludes the series, shows that this is now virtually impossible. About 10 renowned doctors took part in putting together this collection. Oh, cool. Yeah, back in the day when doctors were more of like a trade
what
craft.
Happened here?
Then they were like extremely scientific and professional. There's something behind that painting.
Let's start over. Where did they break in from?
Oh, are we doing the entire? Well, the fucking window. No
Blood.
shit.
Seems like amateur work.
All you gotta do is put a heavy cloth around your head, and then you're not gonna break anything. Okay, so more and more it seems like we're just like walking around, clicking on all of the things. Okay, something did the breaky break? My medicine good enough?
This burglar seems to be rather clumsy.
Well, maybe they were inebriated or under the influence of Cthulhu. We shall see. So that looks like their path from the door through here into the back. And then there's definitely some... Oh, God, okay.
What killed all these animals?
What are these? Bugs? Birds? Rats? Okay.
What sort of thief leaves his tools at the crime scene?
Okay, there's
what
obviously...
happened that made the burglar flee before finishing his work?
Occultism. Oh? Okay, I'm not in control.
What the... Charles Hawkins?
Ah. What book is that? That's a big-ass book.
What sort of power did Sarah Hawkins' painting possess?
Ooh,
Sarah
yeah.
Hawkins helped hide something in this safe.
That was another pretty good example of the, like, difference in tone. Because we screamed in pain and then talked in a very calm voice.
Put in a great deal of effort to hide whatever is in here. Everything is linked to the Sarah Hawkins case.
No shit, she was painting the old gods. Alrighty. Something back here.
Drake left instructions on how to find the combination of his safe.
A page seems to be hidden here. It is possible to read, "If somebody finds these memoirs, there will be no doubt that I am in serious trouble. My last and only hope is that my body and bones are still in this plane of reality, in order that they be recovered and burned. The funeral urn must be given to my dear mother if she is still of this world. The following message is of capital importance. Whoever reads these lines and demonstrates acuity as sharp as mine can hope to gain access to my most precious possession. It is within my safe, and the clues for the combination can be found in 3 cylinders, each hidden where life and study combine in the Greek world. Each cylinder is numbered, even if, as the celebrated author says, order is the pleasure of reason, but disorder is the delight of the imagination. Indeed, despite my preference for organized chaos, I must admit that reason usually prevails in the end. If by chance a person, or should I say genius, was to match my intellect and find the combination of the safe, I would ask if they deliver its content to the safekeeping of my friend and colleague, Professor Armitage of the Miskatonic University. The content of this safe, not only a vast digest of knowledge, but also a weapon that is far too dangerous for it to fall into the wrong hands. I hope that you will be able to appreciate the danger that this represents, and that you will act accordingly. In any event, I will neither be able to guide you nor suffer from your actions. Okay. Is there something on the back here? No. Okay, so our clue in here was each hidden where life and study combine in the Greek world. So, handbook on anatomy and dissection, more medicine knowledge.
Is everyone on this island taking sleeping pills?
Well, I have a feeling that quite a few of them are having nightmares.
Between Charles Hawkins and an old amulet.
Key of Raleigh file. This key that bears the Elder's sign is the only one able to protect your psyche. In it is the form of a cylindrical medallion hanging at the end of a heavy chain. Hundreds of years ago, the star on the branch, whose purpose is to push back the forces of the great old ones, were engraved at its center. Everything points to it being Charles Hawkins that tore it from its last owner, an Egyptian antique dealer. In press cuttings that mention the misdemeanor, the date of the robbery coincides with the last of Hawkins' trips to Cairo. It remains to be seen whether he knows of the true purpose of the artifact. Try to find it. So that symbol reminds me of the eye rune from Bloodborne, which, if I remember correctly, was about, like, finding better items, but I don't know how that relates. That looks like a chimpanzee. But yeah, definitely, okay. So, this isn't gonna be something that I try to brute force. We need to go find the oh, can I just give it a try now? Okay, so change lock, R is rotate. Okay, cool. So, where each... I'm not sure what I'm going to be looking for in here.
A kind of chalice.
We couldn't look at this earlier. The goblet seems to be very ancient. It seems to be made of gold and decorated with real precious stones. Do rubies and sapphires make up a specific motif? I mean, they're in like a two... The rubies and the emeralds are in a 1-2-1-2 pattern. And the sapphires are just dotted along the bottom. Oh, more lamp oil. Arkham is not related to Batman. A fictional city that was in a lot of like Lovecraftian books, because all of Lovecraft's works tend to, I think they take place in the same universe, and Arkham was a fictional city there on the East Coast. Written by Hermes Word, translated and edited by Nathaniel M. Capellius, this collection of texts on different beliefs was written by a legendary philosopher. It includes a translation of the Emerald Tablet, a popular text among 16th century alchemists. This volume is part of the Arkham Anthology, a luxurious collection of treatises and works on esotericism and the supernatural. Ooh, I like that the game isn't afraid to use uncommon words.
How many volumes are there in this collection?
Book of Spells, supposedly written by the legendary King Solomon. It contains various rituals of invocation and rituals of curse. Re-edition by Claudia D. Waits, based on L.W. de Laurence original. And the last paragraph is the same.
Another volume by Arkham Editions.
8, okay. opera in 8 acts by Buenvenido Chiti Brogdigera, a infamous lyrical work published in Italy in 1768. It is said that the opera was performed only once, resulting in an audience riot that left several dead and missing. Holy shit.
Arkham editions. Never heard of them.
That's funny, because we've looked at 4 of them now. A collection of long-term astrological predictions written in verse. Written by Nostradamus, translated by E. Leone and Theophilus Widebridge. Theophilus.
How many volumes are there in this collection?
So far, we've seen 8. An ancient Frisian manuscript translated by William R. Sandbach. The text claims that in the distant past, Europe and other continents were controlled by the mothers of this people, and moreover, that our alphabet is derived from the Frisian language.
Another volume by Arkham Editions.
Okay. A collection of essays on American folklore and urban legends written by Albert Wilmarth, profession at Miskatonic University. So...
Arkham Editions.
Volume 1.
Never heard of him.
I'm wondering if there's any correlation between the safe. So, if we come back here... Oh, I need to take a peek at that clue again. Burglary? Yeah, inventory? Ah, here we go. So... It said, each hidden where life and study combine in the Greek world. I don't know what that's going to mean, though. Maybe this is why we have lamp oil in here. So, what... I still don't completely understand what the...
What a strange amulet. I have a feeling I'd better not touch it.
Pendant's shape of a large dog. I don't know what it represents, but I might find out more by searching the bookstore. The Hound. I can't even remember what I was saying. Okay. Yeah, I don't really know what I'm supposed to be looking for. History of Darkwater, Volume 2, a Puritan colony led by the Reverend John Wickland settled on the island during the 17th century. They named the island Darkwater because of the dark shades of the sea. They believed this was because of the peculiar, I always have trouble with that word, don't know why, color of the rocks surrounding the island. They erected the first buildings, among which are the Hawkins Manor, the church, and the cemetery. In the rare documents and the handwritten notes they left, they spoke of nightmares and deviant behaviors. They disappeared at the beginning of the 18th century. So, when was this written? Because it's hard for me to tell if the text is referring to the Hawkins Manor as the Hawkins Manor, or if our character is referring to the building referenced in it as the Hawkins Manor.
The Book of Zion is the foundational work behind Helena Blavatsky's theosophical movement. Its followers place truth on the same footing as a religion.
I haven't heard the term theosophical before, but I like it. These Tibetan writings are at the origin of the esoteric movements founded by Helena Blavatsky at the end of the 19th century. The creator of Theosophy would have drawn extensively from the texts of this work, but no one has ever been able to consult them. I thought that they didn't exist. This book, discovered in the nameless bookstore on Darkwater, could be as much fake as irrefutable proof of Blavatsky's sincerity. Interesting. Oh.
Cylinders that Drake tried to hide. I should perhaps listen to them.
Oh. Would you read the book? Read the
What
book.
does this strange book contain? This book contains unholy knowledge.
Collection of... it's same thing again. Collection, catalog, and classifies creatures that I've never heard of, divinities from the stars, creatures capable of traveling from one dimension to another. It presents itself as a reference work for the bestiary of the myth, without giving details on the mythology to which it refers. Its pages are covered with phantasmagorical illustrations. Okay, cool. Yeah, I want my occultism to be really high. So is there a way that I can listen to those in here? Yes.
Things are not looking good.
What is this? Fucking checkmate or something? There's no white king. There's 2 knights, a rook, and a queen. Okay, so white lost, I guess. I don't know what I'm supposed... Oh, here's a phonograph. Hold... Okay, yeah, I thought we were looking at, like, a turntable for a second. Drake cylinder.
Red drops, like precious stones, lie fixed, set in divine gold. To be the guardian of the Grail does not protect me from its attractions, Henry. And I do confess it. I am willing to pay to know its secrets.
Okay,
And these
so red
like
drops.
precious stones lie fixed, set in divine gold. To be the guardian of
The chalice of knowledge.
Okay, so let's do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
the Grail does not protect me from its attractions, Henry. And I do confess it. I am willing to pay to know its secrets. I finally understood that we were only pieces on the chessboard of the gods.
4.
Let those of us who are still standing protect our White Queen from their dark soldiers.
Yeah.
I see our number dwindling, and my will strengthens as my apprehension grows. We
Is there-
shall refuse to be the
There's
playthings
4
of
white
destiny.
pieces on the board.
Dear friend, I thank you again for the anthology of the works of Arkham editions that you sent me. Volume 9, Azathoth and Other Horrors, seemed particularly relevant to my research. I never tire of browsing through them.
5, 4, 9? Let's try it. Okay, so, 5, 4, 9. Maybe not. 1, 4, 9. 5, 6, 9. Okay, so is it how many of them there are? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7?
What did Drake say about this collection?
Is it, well, volume 9 was there, but let's try that. 5, 4, 7? Okay, so when it talked about the number of inset
Chalice of
gems,
knowledge.
so if we go from left to right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then it repeats. That's how many of them there are, but they're all in a pattern of 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. So that's why I tried both 5 and 1. Now, when we look at the chess pieces, there's... Okay, so there's 3 off there, so maybe it's 7. But there's only 4 pieces, 4 white pieces, but they were talking about protecting their beloved queen, so maybe it's 3, but it could also be in reference to all 7 that are here. I didn't realize that there was that one right over there, so I might have to try 7 as well. But then when it talks about the Arkham books, it says explicitly that there's 9 volumes. But at the same time, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Is there, like, one more around here somewhere that we just aren't, privy to or haven't found yet? I honestly feel like I'm in a point-and-click adventure game where, the graphics are very nice and in first person. Where I just don't have all of the pieces yet for the game to allow me to progress. So I have to walk around and click on everything until it says arbitrarily, yes, you are allowed to move on now.
The Queen has little protection.
$539. So it was the number of pieces on the board that were not the Queen. 5 was correct from the number of rubies in the goblet, and 9 was correct for the number of works of the Arkham Anthology. Okay. Oh, okay. Back in the Riverdale Institute? The nameless bookstore, Pierce traced the trail of an attempted burglary. He discovered that Charles Hawkins was behind the attempt. Pierce opened the bookseller's safe to find the ladder, and Sarah Hawkins had been there. A book covered in human skin lay inside, irresistibly attracted to the detective. When he opened it, his mind was projected into another body. How do we know it was human skin? The player only knows because it was just written there. Yeah, okay. On we go, then.
Dr. Colden, this man's condition is deteriorating.
What says Dr. Fuller? It's his patient, after all.
He's busy with Captain Fitzroy. He specifically asked us not to bother him when that's the case.
Oh, of course. I'll see what I can do. Mr. Blake, can you hear me? I'm Dr. Colden. We'll take care of you.
There's nothing we can do. I tried talking to him. He's catatonic.
Are we going to be experiencing this whole scene from, like, every point of view? Also, mouse, go away, please. Has he been
Did you
drugged?
inject him with a tranquilizer?
No, Doctor. Not me, not anyone. Our stock is empty, yet again.
Again? But there was enough for the whole island.
More and more people are suffering from insomnia. We can't refuse to help.
Of course.
Any idea what this man might be undergoing?
Very well. I'll examine him.
Oh, okay.
Severe malnutrition. Swollen abdomen with traces of petechia. Doesn't seem like an edema. Slight protuberances seem to indicate the presence of a foreign body. His skin shows abnormal loss of color and seems dried out. He's totally dehydrated. His fingertips and toes seem to feature a slight ring under the skin, tender at the touch, slightly sticky.
Okay.
30-year-old subject, severe hypothermia. Erythematous papules around the eyes and eardrums. Necrosed palpebral tissue. Lord, this smell.
So, Doctor, an opinion?
I'm not sure I have the necessary knowledge to treat this man.
Don't say that. You're our most worthy doctor after Dr. Fuller.
Some of his symptoms are beyond my comprehension.
What did you find?
Did you examine his abdomen? It would seem there's something inside.
He hasn't eaten in days. Are you certain it's not an edema?
No. Can't you recognize an edema? Pushing with your finger won't leave a trace. And look at these bumps.
It's not like he could be pregnant.
I have an old one in me,
Whatever
don't
it
I?
is, this man has something inside him that shouldn't be there. We should operate on him at once.
Dr. Fuller said not to worry, that the edema would go away by itself.
You know, I'm not sure Dr. Fuller is telling the truth. In spite of the muscle contractions, his arms seem limp.
Yes. They can't have decalcified, not at this rate.
And yet, if there is a bone in this arm, it's softer than that of a newborn baby. What about his cranium?
It's soft at the touch. It does seem like the skull of a baby.
Was I just
Look at these
reborn or
sticky
something?
rings growing at his fingertips. What can be happening?
I'm sure you'll find an explanation.
I'm becoming one of the like cephalopod creatures, aren't I? Just like what's his name? The husband.
I see signs of hypodermoclysis, but he's still dehydrated. When was his last IV?
He's constantly under perfusion. I've even gone beyond the recommended dose to
I'm
no avail.
I'm becoming like an
You won't
invertebrate
believe me,
cephalopod, aren't I?
When we bathed him earlier,
He seemed to feel better?
yes, like he needs an aquarium, not a perfusion.
Yeah.
But that doesn't explain his condition.
Yeah,
I almost don't believe it myself, but these symptoms are not those usually associated with the human species.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Don't tell me you believe in extraterrestrials.
No. This poor man is from our world, all right. But his body is undergoing unnatural mutations. And this transformation is killing him. His body simply can't cope.
Where could he have gotten such an infection?
I pray that it's not here.
Dr. Colden, may I know what you're doing to my patient?
What I'm doing? How about what you've done to him?
Let us calm down, my dear Marie. I don't appreciate your tone, nor your insinuations. I've done to him what I do to all my patients, provide him with the best available care.
Your imagination is without limit. It's your homemade drug again, is it not? Those people are not your guinea pigs.
There, there. What have you seen to put you in such a state?
I've seen suction cups on his fingers, his falling body temperature, his dehydration. Had I only read the report, you know what I would have concluded, Doctor.
Do I? Tell me anyway. I'm curious.
He's no longer human. These are the attributes of an animal.
Yeah, humans are animals.
Fascinating. An animal, you say? Could you be more
Cephalopod.
precise?
There it is.
Cephalopod, perhaps.
This amuses you.
Your reaction does. I know your thirst for knowledge, Doctor. It's your innocent worries for this man that have you overreacting.
For this man, and the others whose medical files you've been hiding.
I have to protect my discovery. These people owe me their life, but the world isn't ready yet. It will be, in time.
I will not let you do this.
You disappoint me, Marie, but I still have hope you'll one day share my point of view. In the meantime, take care of your own patients and try not to forget who you're dealing with.
Ooh.
Was that a threat? What did he mean?
So Dr. Fuller really seems like he's in the
Dr.
middle of
Fuller
all
is
of
this
this.
institution's founder and one of our profession's most influential voices. My word is of no weight against his. If I continue to protest, I will only ruin my reputation and career.
It's scandalous. Can't we do anything? Is there no evidence of his crimes?
Oh, that evidence exists. I'm sure of it. I need to find the missing medical files.
And where would you find those? In his office? What if you get caught?
I'd rather not think about that. I'm counting on your discretion.
Of course, Doctor. You can count on me. I'll keep mum.
Okay, so we're going to find the evidence in Dr. Fuller's office.
Doctor, please. My chest.
His perfusion of a semi-physiological solution doesn't seem to work. He's undergoing a ventricular fibrillation.
So, what's going on here? He's having ventricular fibrillation is a heart defect where the valve just kind of flutters back and forth. But what's the? They're giving him an IV drip of
Deborah,
something,
come and help me,
obviously,
please.
but it doesn't seem to be
His potassium level is too high.
Yeah.
Replace it with 2% glucose solution with insulin, calcium, and sodium bicarbonate.
I'll tend to it right away.
Thank you.
So
He's
they're
in your
just trying
hands.
to maintain some physiological homeostasis. Because that's a lot of electrolytes they're trying to give him.
He broke his back in an accident down by the docks.
The whaling station. What's wrong with me?
What are you talking about?
Doctor, that you?
Yes, it's Dr. Colden. Tell me what happened.
It's the old whaling station. See?
The one that hides the smuggling business.
Oh no, not them. They don't go on that side of the island. Everyone in his place. The captain on one side, Cat on the other, and me. Well, I've been to the whaling station, I have.
What did you see there?
Nothing at all. The floor was all rotten and I fell straight through.
And that's how you broke your back.
Perhaps. No idea. Passed out.
I feel like every single one of these is going to have some interaction, maybe.
Intoxication from breathing organic vapors.
Okay.
She recently came back from the surgical block. She's stable. Given her file, a nephrectomy would have been inevitable. But Fuller was able to save her kidney.
Nephrectomy is a kidney removal. Interesting. So Dr. Fuller seems to have some, like, fucking miracle cures around here.
Insomniac. I should find the cause for such a widespread trouble.
Read your chart. Nope. Okay. Alright, so we need to make it to Dr. Fuller's office, which I can't say I know where that is. Brady, what's up, man?
Ethan,
Marie,
what are you doing here?
I'm waiting for my medication, of course. Why?
You're not here for treatment, right?
Am I so obvious?
Only to me. I know you worry about me.
I trust you. I'm happy to see you.
Me too, Ethan. Is that all?
Well, there might be something else. I'm not sure.
Tell me.
I have nightmares. They keep me awake every night. It seems stupid, I know, but they're terrible.
Actually, you're not the only one.
No. No one has ever seen the things I see. It's like I'm turning mad.
So many people have this affliction. It's like an epidemic.
Do you think it might be related to Fuller's work?
Yes.
I don't know yet, but I will figure all this out. Everyone in Darkwater is suffering from nightmares.
Really?
We don't have any medication left.
Oh, there's no excuse then. I should let you work.
Take care, Ethan.
You too, Marie.
Alright, so we need to get into his office, but where the hell is it? Storage?
Sorry, but nobody can take anything until I finish the inventory.
Okay.
The
Locked?
operating room is never accessible after an operation.
Okay. Thomas Fuller, MD.
Let's hope I can go through the administration office.
Administration? There we go. Let's just pop that closed. And then, do I need to be a sneaky snake about this?
Wait a minute. Where do you think you're going?
I did not see you over there.
Dr. Colden.
Mrs. Donovan.
Nobody goes into Dr. Fuller's office.
Oh.
But rest assured, I'll tell him you came by.
That won't be necessary. Thank you.
I will tell him, nonetheless.
Ooh.
I have little time for you, Doctor. You'll find out that it's not only the doctors who have things to do.
What a bitch. Why don't I just fucking inject her with a sedative? Oh, right, we're all out. Books of medical sciences, sweetness. So what is it that I need to be doing in here? Furnace? Oh, gramophone? Oh, I can't use this one. What do? Can't climb through there.
Everybody says it. She's a witch, an old hag. I didn't make this up. And I'm the one who pays. What a pest. It's so unfair.
What's going on?
Elizabeth? You all right? Why is this room in such a state?
Because, as always, I'm cleaning it by myself. And the water was once again shut off this morning. I had to bother Mrs. Donovan again, giving her a new excuse to belittle me.
Come now. Don't let that witch sap your morale. We're lacking in qualified personnel, and she knows it. Her petty punishments won't last forever.
I'm trying, Doctor. I'm trying. It's just that sometimes I imagine she shuts down the water herself, just for the pleasure of harassing me.
Her time is much too precious for these kind of petty games.
Anyway, I've learned my lesson. I'll hold my tongue next time.
Courage, Elizabeth.
Thank you, Doctor.
Okay, so she's an absolute cunt, and, not her. She seems like a sweetheart. But, I keep seeing these vents all over the place, and it makes me think that they're gonna be of some use. But I can't tell. High security
The
unit.
answers must be hidden in Fuller's office.
Okay, so how do we get in there, then? Pharmacy?
No, you're pulling my leg. I'm not joking. I saw the schedule. She's alone in the bathroom again. And she still says nothing to that old witch, Donovan.
We've been waiting to be restocked for
Listen
weeks.
to the way you talk, you naughty girl. And the answer is no. You can imagine that she doesn't dare say a thing. That silly goose lets herself be trodden on.
Oh well, at least we won't have to clean for a while.
The door to the
really?
boiler room is locked. I have to get the key if I wish to get rid of Donovan.
So yeah, that is gonna be what I have to end up doing, isn't it?
This man, Edward Pierce, his
Oh.
file is incomplete. What did Fuller do to him? The boiler room key is not in its place.
Can I take any of the other keys?
Dr. Fuller always keeps his key with him.
Dr. Colden. Do you want something?
Yes.
I think that you're needed in Block B, Doctor.
Some Bostonian accents. So, man, I will say, at least there's not a fucking monster chasing me, but at the same time, this seems like a very arbitrary progression block that we've seen a couple of times
and
now.
Hospital personnel eat the same food.
Where we're put into a situation and just told, go fuck about until you click on the thing that allows you to progress. And it doesn't really make for compelling gameplay. I don't feel like I'm following clues. I feel like I'm just walking around waiting until I actually find what it is that I need. And while there is a certain sense of realism to that, it's just boring. I play games to escape the real life that I live, not to relive the life that I live. So the fact that, yeah, it's just kind of meh. Like, why can't I just take one of these fucking paper stabby things and shove it in the back of her fucking throat? I understand that wouldn't be very doctorly of me, but I have a feeling Dr. Fuller might actually believe that there's a supernatural entity that caused it, and I just happened to witness it. Like, it's arbitrary block on top of arbitrary block. Like, I know that I'm supposed to get in here, so I find it and I come over here, and then I can't get in because this bitch is here. So I have to find a way to distract her, and it seems that, like, the boiler room is the thing that I need to do that, which we got the clue from trying to open the door. But then we try and go and get the key for it, and the key's missing.
I have to get the key if I wish to get rid of
so
Donovan.
it's this kind of like fetch quest on fetch quest on fetch quest kind of thing that it seems like it's just here to draw out time.
Everybody says it. She's a witch.
It's a very, very easy way to draw out the runtime of the game without there really being anything of substance between, what is this?
An unknown medicine. Judging by the other ones, it causes heavy side effects.
Interesting. Yeah, it's just time wasted for nothing added. And it's disappointing to see this. But at the very least, looking on the bright side, there's no shitty monster chasing me. No death on death on death on death, so... Awesome!
The key to the boiler room. All I have to do is shut off the water and hope Donovan takes the bait.
Alright, turn this.
I can't shut this with my bare hands. I need a tool.
If the tool's not in here, it's just gonna be fucking reinforcing my point. Is this a joke? Like, it's getting to the point in the game where a lot of the design choices are so blatantly bad that they feel like a critique of bad game design. It feels like a joke. It feels like I'm playing like a satire of poorly designed investigative games. But because it presents itself so seriously in terms of its story and animation and world design, like, why can't I just use a fucking broom? That it comes across as being completely unaware of the fact that, like, these are horrible, horrible bits of game design. Like, I did all of the shitty fetch quest stuff that the game wanted me to do. But now that I did that, I still need to go on another one. Oh, it's so bad. Like, every time I get into a new section, I'm like, oh good, this isn't going to be a shitty monster section or a bad stealth
Let's hope I
section.
can go through the administration office.
But no, the game just manages to disappoint me in another way. I'm almost impressed by how much of it is just that bad. So, what's it gonna be? What arbitrary object that I'm allowed to click on are we gonna be able to use? Because in a realistic situation, if I were in this, I would grab a broom and use that as a lever, because I could pretty easily run it through that, the shit that's in there. But, you know, because it's a video game, oh, I have to find the specific item that allows me to do so. One of the fire pokers, maybe? Nope. Oh, look at that! Hooray! The arbitrary object that I'm allowed to use that was hidden in a fucking corner out of my line of sight. Because look, when I walk in here and I'm looking around, oh, it's down here? God damn it, this is stupid. Just adding insult to injury, I want to say that,
I feel guilty about Elizabeth, but
Hold up. The, distance from the fulcrum, the point at which a lever turns, is multiplicative in the amount of force that it applies to the fulcrum, depending on the distance from that point. So, there's that old saying, give me a lever large enough and I can move the earth. So, the fact that after all of that, I need to go find these files. I need to get into Dr. Fuller's office. I can't get into Dr. Fuller's office because there's a bitch guarding it. I have to distract the bitch. But the room that I need to get into is locked so that I can't get in there. I have to go find the key. You go find the key, you get in there, and try to turn the lever. The wheel doesn't work. So after all of that, the fact that the lever that we found to turn that was the exact same length of the handle that was trying to get us through that is just, I feel like I have been blasted in the face with the diarrhea of shitty game design over and over and over in this game. And we're in a section where I'm not dying over and over again. So, like, it's just so pervasive through all of this, like, biting for time. I saw a speedrun of this game come up in my YouTube recommended section that was an hour long. So, I understand that we're dealing with a bit of a puzzle game, and that part of the satisfaction of it comes from solving said puzzle. But these aren't puzzles that we're solving. They're arbitrary roadblocks where you have to learn the path around the roadblock. They're just, this is a series of detours where you're not solving anything. You're just taking turns until the path allows you to progress. And it's so frustrating. And it's so bad. But I'm too interested in the fucking story to stop. So I'm pissed that I care about this game because it's so bad in terms of its gameplay and puzzles. So yeah, let's get back to it. Let's get back to it. This is just fucking insult to injury.
Need the diversion.
Alrighty, let's go. Watch her, like, close and lock the door, and then I'll have to, go back to Elizabeth? Yeah. Where was she? In the bathroom?
Dr. Colden, might there be a problem with the water?
I was about to mention it. It seems it's been cut off yet again.
I can't take this, Marie. I feel I'm gonna burst.
It's not your fault if we have defective plumbing.
And yet, I'm the one who gets punished because I'm gonna have to square off with that annoying old witch. Courage, Elizabeth. Here we go. And hold your tongue this time.
At least the game has nice cloth physics. Look at that dress. Look at the way it ruffles. Yeah.
Mrs. Donovan?
I'm busy. Elizabeth, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am. But it's about the water.
Yay!
The missing files must be hidden here.
Cool, now let's just do the arbitrary clicky-clack until we're allowed to move on the tricky track. Click, 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 clack, click, click,
The
click.
Stendhal syndrome. Of course. This is where Fuller found his diagnosis for Francis Sanders.
Study of Stendhal syndrome, a particularly rare mental illness. Subjects display mental disorders linked to an exposure to works of art. That's cool. I was not aware of that. The game has done a pretty fantastic job about being, like, factual in a lot of its...
Something is wrong with these masts. It's some sort of puzzle.
Boop, boop, okay. Boop, boop, boop. Okay, so does that only turns half each time.
I've unlocked something.
Hooray.
Patient files. I was right.
Oh, that wasn't obvious. So, do I need to go... Let's just... Can we close the door? No, let's... Oh, there we go. Perfect, perfect. I was afraid it wasn't going to let me for a second. Okay.
Session number 17. Patient? Sarah Hawkins. The patient appears to have finally accepted the illusory nature of what she calls the mythos. It goes without saying that these peculiar delusions are the price that comes with her exceptional gifts.
It's a finger.
This finger belonged to a woman. Why keep it here? Why does Dr. Fuller write psychological reports about Sarah Hawkins?
At first, I presumed that her blood was the key. But I found nothing to
Why is Ethan on medication?
its abilities.
Barbrady? There's a shoe here. Okay, so do I leave this by closing this out? I mean, okay, keep
The
investigating.
poor
then.
souls downstairs are not Fuller's only subjects.
Then James came, irate that Charles was keeping secrets from him. I presume that he will try to break into the basement sooner or later.
Cool, so now are we going to go down to the basement, eh? Oh.
Hawkins, Fitzroy, and Fuller. What is the connection between these three?
It is fortunate that I had the presence of mind to set the morgue in the basement. When all the fuss about the Hawkins incident finally comes to an end, I will dispose of her belongings. In the meantime, they must remain hidden in plain sight.
Oh? What am I looking for now? I don't know if I'm supposed to, like, click on something here? Oh, now this can activate.
Sarah Hawkins is the connection.
Was Sarah transformed in some kind of way by her ability to see into this dimension, the belief in the mythos? So when she was killed in the fire, her body went to Dr. Fuller. So now Dr. Fuller is using her remains as a homemade medicine in order to transform people. Okay, I'm leaving this here. It's been an hour. I can only take so much of this at a time, and an hour is pushing it. Like, the story is really interesting. It really, really is. But I wish the game would keep that as the focus. Like, it obviously wants to tell a story. It really does. But it's like the game designers said, well, this is a game, so there needs to be gameplay, right? Well, it's a horror game. Okay, so we're going to do stealth. Check. We're going to do item finding. Check. And we're going to do some like personal investigation stuff. But in ticking those boxes, they forgot that games are supposed to be fun. And the fun of this game lies in its uncovering of the story. But it's hiding all of that behind just fucking boring mechanics. And it's really to the detriment of the overall experience. We're doing shitty arbitrary fetch quests. We're doing shitty arbitrary stealth sections. And we're doing shitty arbitrary monster killing where you stab paintings to kill monsters. The complete lack of player direction, the basing all of the progression on stumbling upon the arbitrary interactions in which you need the items to unlock other arbitrary interactions. It's just this fucking rabbit hole of really pathetic game design. And like, I don't know. I've played games like this that were about interesting story-driven first-person investigation, that were horror-driven. What comes to mind is the original Condemned, Criminal Origins. Damn good game. That we were dealing with some psychological traumas, some hallucinations, some investigative mechanics. And it did a far better job of creating an atmosphere, a compelling story, and combining that with interesting gameplay. On top of that, there was some first-person like brawling combat. It wasn't great, but it didn't need to be, because it was a stand-in in a horror game about the protagonist's kind of feeble nature in all of this. But when I died in that game, it usually felt like it was my fault. I typically knew what was going on, and I always had a tool to figure out what the fuck I needed to do next. And there wasn't any of this arbitrary key hunting bullshit that is being used to draw out the length of this game. So, I'm going to keep playing this. I'm going to play it all the way fucking through. And for anybody who's on board for all of that suffering, more power to you. I sincerely appreciate it. But I want to know what's going on with this story. This might be the first game that I actually do a review after a playthrough, because it's so bad. But yeah, this has been the Call of Cthulhu. Thank you so much for watching. My name is CoalFire, and I will see you next time.